Namaste. Welcome to Jack Colley's Black Book. This is episode 71. The kids will be okay. So I want to tell you about my Monday, and then I'm going to tell you about my Tuesday. This is kind of like a report. Now, this was the Monday and the Tuesday following Easter Sunday. And on Easter Sunday, I had the opportunity to witness about 40 people being baptized in the Christian tradition. And those of you who have followed me along know that I put a lot of emphasis on the idea of death and rebirth, on the whole cycle of life. And while I realize there can be some very specific symbolism in the Christian tradition behind what baptism is, in my mind, it's just a celebration of rebirth. And as quickly as Easter started out great, it just took a turn for the worse. And without going into too much detail, let's just say there was a lot of drama for the rest of Sunday. And so after this very mixed day, Monday morning rolls around and I wake up and I just thought, I've got to do something to turn this around. And so I'm going to share with you just several things that I did to help redefine my week. And these are just corny ideas that you can take or leave. So the first thing I did Monday morning was I put on my new favorite t-shirt. It used to be Jimi Hendrix, and now it's this. I've got a picture of Buddha, and it's Let That Shit Go. So that was step number one. Always put on your favorite t-shirt if you want to have a good day. The next thing I did was this. I decided to go shop for some vinyl. So a little bit of retail therapy, $4, and I got some really cool albums, some really good vinyl. We've got this one right here. I have no idea what this is. It just looked interesting. This individual is probably dead by now. I have to listen to it yet. It looks like it's in German. Heinz Dein Schnanzertag or something like that. We've got the Tonight album by Ferrante and Teicher. These are two piano players who really do interesting things. They reach in the grand pianos and pluck all the strings and make all these interesting sound effects. And then I found the Baja Marimba Band Rides Again. We've got a bus right here, and we've got a whole bunch of Mexican musicians with guitars and marimbas and mallets and things like that. We have one woman right in the middle, Red Roses for a Blue Lady, Hecho and Mexico, the Woody Woodpecker song. We've got Spanish Rose, Juarez. We also have a song, Guacamole. And then I stumbled across this right here. Mr. Rogers sings of special things in childhood, won't you be my neighbor? So I picked this one up for a couple of reasons. Number one, Mr. Rogers is one of my personal heroes. And number two, when I looked at the descriptions on the back, I saw a lot of psychology that I could unpack. Track number 3 on here, boys are special and girls are special, and boys have preferences and girls have preferences. We'll take this old album and see if we can apply it to 2025. Track number 6, I'm Going to Marry Mom. There you go. We can really unpack a lot of Freud in this song, I think. Side 2, the first track, unpacks sibling rivalry. What do you do when the baby comes home? Another track, Sometimes People Are Good. Kind of interested in that one because it's true. Sometimes people are good and sometimes people are not too good. And so this Monday, having put on my favorite new t-shirt and having purchased with $4 these 4 vinyl albums that I'm excited to listen to, I then decided to treat myself to Taco Bell. And this time I even got the meat. Normally I don't eat above seafood in terms of the food ladder, but today I decided I was going to actually get meat, which I understand is horrible for you, but you got to treat yourself sometimes. So that was Monday, but it was Tuesday that would really seal the deal for me, because on Tuesday I had the opportunity to have lunch with 3 of my students. And it was this lunch that I think really put things in perspective for me. We had just finished up our class in developmental psychology, and these 3 students decided to join me at an Indian buffet that's right downtown in the city. All 3 of them showed up together at the same time, and they all sat down, and we just started to have light conversation. And it was during that conversation that they told me that it was during our developmental psychology class that the 3 of them had become friends. So it was at our small table, 4 of us sitting there, where we had 2 individuals who had ancestry of colonizers. We had 2 individuals who had some connection with South Africa. One actually moved here to the United States from South Africa. And as we discussed certain things, it was just surprising to me at how balanced and healthy a discussion it was, even though we maybe didn't see eye to eye. In fact, the only time I think that the table was going to really just kind of erupt and we had some strong emotions was a little bit of a debate we had about whether you should eat raw cranberries or not. We discussed Nelson Mandela because two of the students were from South Africa, and they had a chance to educate me about some of the not so great things that Nelson and Winnie Mandela have been purported to do, which admittedly I don't know the full history, so I want to be careful there. The point is that we discussed this individual as being very human. We discussed Elon Musk, and even though Elon Musk in many minds is just this devil of an individual, we were able to bring a real human perspective to him about some of his very creative ideas. We even discussed the importance of his electric cars and how the electricity that run these cars are probably made from gasoline or petroleum products, that Tesla owners are still helping to build the infrastructure that we're going to need once we get away from petroleum products. One of the students bowed her head and prayed before her meal. There was grace extended. There was positive regard. It was a table where we sat at, and it just seemed like all four of us valued each individual at that table. Quite often, I think people get overly concerned about the generations following them. And I often have to be careful that I'm not defining entire generations based on the memes that I see on social media. Because what I can tell you is this: as I had this meal, it was clear to me that the future is okay, that the kids are okay, that humanity is going to be okay. But what a great reminder that four individuals can sit and just really enjoy each other and share space together, a different age group. And most importantly, when I had to get going because I had other things to attend to, I knew that these three students, these three women, were going to sit in that booth and they were going to continue their discussion. Having the chance just to share space with these three individuals reminded me that everything's going to be okay. Unless, of course, you think that raw cranberries ought to be used to make salsa, then you have a serious character flaw. Namaste, my friends.